I only said yes because no one better has asked yet. My fiancée told her best friend. I can always divorce him if someone better comes along. My cousin was getting her hair done in the same salon and heard everything. She sent me the recording. I didn't say a word, just waited until she got home, walked over, and took the ring off her finger. She froze. 2 days later, she was at my door in her wedding dress, begging me to talk. I've never considered myself particularly lucky in relationships. Average looks, decent career as an architect, nothing that would make heads turn. When Natalie agreed to date me 3 years ago, I thought I'd beaten the odds. When she accepted my proposal 6 months ago, I was convinced I'd won the lottery. Turns out, I was just a placeholder. The revelation came on a Thursday. I was reviewing blueprints for a commercial project when my phone buzzed with a message from my cousin Emma. We're close, grew up together, shared a dorm in college, still meet for coffee most weekends. Call me ASAP. It's about Natalie. I stepped out of the office and called immediately, stomach already tightening with dread. I'm sending you something, Emma said without preamble. I'm sorry, but you need to hear this. The audio file arrived seconds later. Emma explained she'd been getting highlights at Bellamy's salon when Natalie and her best friend Vanessa walked in, taking the stations directly behind her. They couldn't see Emma behind the partition, and the dryers running nearby created enough background noise that they spoke freely. The recording quality wasn't perfect, but the voices were unmistakable. So how's wedding planning going? You seem so calm about everything. Why stress? It's not like it's necessarily permanent. What's that supposed to mean? You just dropped 20 grand on a venue deposit. I only said yes because no one better has asked yet. I can always divorce him if someone better comes along. Natalie, that's cold even for you. Oh please, like you haven't thought the same thing. Look, Ryan's fine. Stable job, owns his place, decent enough in bed, but he's not exactly what I pictured ending up with, you know? He's just safe. Does he have any idea? God, no. He thinks I hung the moon. It's sweet, really, but sometimes I feel like I'm just settling. What about that guy from your office, the one you mentioned? Chris, nothing's happened yet, but there's definitely something there. He just made partner too. So why go through with the wedding? Because birds in hand, right? If things develop with Chris, I'll figure it out. If not, Ryan's a decent backup plan. Either way, I'm covered. The recording continued for another minute, their conversation shifting to wedding dress alterations, as if they hadn't just discussed the disposability of my place in Natalie's life. I listened to it 3 times, then sat in my car for 20 minutes, staring at nothing. The calm that settled over me wasn't what I expected. No rage, no urge to scream or break things, just clarity. Cold and absolute. I returned to my office, finished my workday with mechanical precision, then drove home to the apartment Natalie and I had shared for the past year. Our wedding was 8 weeks away. Invitations sent, venue booked, honeymoon flights purchased, a life planned. All based on a lie. I didn't confront her that night, didn't demand explanations or call her names. Just acted normal, asked about her day, made dinner, watched a movie, all while mentally cataloging everything I needed to handle. The next morning, I took a personal day while Natalie went to work. Then I methodically began dismantling our future. First, I called the venue and explained the situation. The manager was surprisingly sympathetic. Apparently, I wasn't the first groom to cancel after discovering bride-to-be wasn't who she claimed. She agreed to refund half the deposit given the circumstances. Next, I contacted our honeymoon resort and canceled the reservation. Called my groomsmen. Emailed immediate family. Each conversation brief, factual, devoid of drama. The wedding's off. I'll explain later. Please respect my privacy for now. By afternoon, I'd moved all my essential documents and irreplaceable items to a storage unit. By evening, I'd secured a short-term rental starting the following week. Everything executed with the same focused efficiency I bring to my architectural projects. When Natalie came home that evening, nothing appeared unusual. I'd made her favorite pasta, opened a bottle of wine. She chatted about work drama, mentioned alterations for her wedding dress, complained about the seating chart. After dinner, as we sat on the couch with our wine, I finally spoke the first honest words of the evening. Let me see your ring for a minute. She looked confused but extended her hand. The 2-carat diamonds sparkled under the living room light, 3 months of my salary on her finger. I took her hand gently, slid the ring off, and placed it in my pocket. "What are you doing?" she asked, confusion turning to alarm. I played the recording. The color drained from her face as her own voice filled the room. Her expression cycled through shock, embarrassment, and finally calculation as she formulated her defense. When the recording ended, I simply said, "The wedding's canceled. I've handled the venue, the honeymoon, and notified my side of the guest list. I'll be moving out next week. You can stay until the lease ends in 3 months." "Ryan, I didn't mean. I'm not interested in explanations, Natalie. Your words were perfectly clear. It was just girl talk. Everyone says stupid things to their friends." I stayed silent, watching her scramble for excuses. "Who recorded that? That's illegal. You can't just spy on private conversations. Emma was getting her hair done. You didn't notice her. One-party consent is legal in this state." Natalie's tactics shifted rapidly from denial to anger to tears. A manipulative cycle I recognized from smaller conflicts throughout our relationship. When nothing worked, she finally resorted to the truth. "Fine, maybe I do have doubts. That's normal. Everyone has doubts before a wedding." "Doubts are normal. Seeing me as a placeholder until something better comes along isn't." I stood up, ending the conversation. "I have an early meeting tomorrow. Good night." She slept at Vanessa's that night. I changed the passcode on my phone and enabled 2-factor authentication on all accounts. Natalie had always known my passwords, trust that now seemed dangerously naive. The next day passed without contact. I assumed she was strategizing, gathering allies, preparing her counteroffensive. I was right. On day 2, the barrage began. First came the phone calls, from Natalie, from her parents, from mutual friends who'd only heard her version. I let everything go to voicemail, responding only to texts with brief, factual messages. "Yes, the wedding is canceled. No, this isn't open for discussion. I'll arrange to collect my things next weekend." Her mother called 7 times, leaving increasingly hostile messages about commitment and working through problems and the cost of cancellations. I saved each one without responding. That evening, as I was finishing dinner in my quiet apartment, the doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw Natalie, wearing her wedding dress, makeup streaked with tears, clutching a small bouquet of what appeared to be hastily gathered flowers from the grocery store across the street. It was both pathetic and calculated, the ultimate visual guilt trip. If I opened the door, neighbors would see a crying bride pleading with her cold-hearted fiancé. Maximum emotional leverage. I didn't open the door. She rang again, knocked, called my phone repeatedly. Eventually, she sat down in the hallway, wedding dress pooling around her, and began talking loudly enough for me to hear through the door. "Ryan, please. I know you're in there. I made a terrible mistake. I didn't mean any of it. I love you. Please just talk to me." I recorded her performance from inside, documenting the manipulation for my own sanity. After 30 minutes, a neighbor finally emerged and asked her to leave. I heard her explain through theatrical sobs that her fiancé was having a breakdown and refusing to talk about their problems. Eventually, she left. The emotional ambush had failed. Later that night, I emailed her, "Don't come to the apartment unannounced again. I'll be collecting my things on Saturday at 10 a.m. If you prefer not to be present, let me know and I'll arrange for someone else to be there." Her reply came within minutes. "You're really throwing away 3 years over one stupid conversation? This isn't like you, Ryan. You've always been understanding. Please, can we just talk in person? No games, no dress, just talking." I responded with the only truth that mattered. The person I was understanding toward doesn't exist. She was a projection of who I thought you were. The real you sees me as a backup plan. I deserve better than that. Saturday came. I arrived with 3 friends to help move my furniture and remaining belongings. Natalie wasn't there. Just a note on the counter and the key to my car, which she occasionally used. The note read simply, "I never meant to hurt you. When you calm down, call me." I threw it away and continued packing. 2 weeks later, I was settled in my new place. Changed my phone number, kept my social media deactivated, focused on work. Natalie's attempts to contact me continued through increasingly creative channels. Emails to my work account, messages through mutual friends, even a letter to my parents' house. I maintained complete silence, not out of spite, but self-preservation. There was nothing left to say. A month after the recording, Emma spotted Natalie having lunch with Chris from her office, her hand on his arm, laughing at something he said. I felt nothing but relief that my instinct had been correct. 6 months later, I ran into Vanessa at a local coffee shop. She looked uncomfortable but approached anyway. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, she said. What Natalie did was wrong. I should have called her out harder that day. I nodded. Thank you for that. Are you okay now? She asked cautiously. I considered the question. Was I okay? The pain had dulled. The embarrassment of canceling a wedding had faded. The trust issues remained, but I was working on them. I'm getting there, I answered honestly. As I was leaving, Vanessa called after me. For what it's worth, she regrets it. Not just getting caught, the actual attitude. She knows she messed up something real. I nodded again but didn't respond. Her regret wasn't my responsibility. That night, I looked at the engagement ring sitting in my safe. I'd had options. Return it for a partial refund, sell it online, keep it as a reminder. Instead, I decided to have it reset into cufflinks. Not to wear regularly, but to keep as a reminder that sometimes the most valuable architectural skill is knowing when to demolish rather than renovate. Some structures can't be saved. Some foundations are fatally flawed from the beginning. And sometimes, walking away isn't just an option. It's the only blueprint that makes sense. Update 8 months later. Since many asked for an update, here's where things stand. I've been seeing someone new for about 3 months. Taking it slow, being intentionally transparent about expectations. She's actually a contractor I met through work. Someone who builds things for a living, which feels symbolically right. Natalie and Chris made their relationship official about 2 months after our split. According to mutual friends, it lasted roughly 5 months before imploding spectacularly when she discovered he was seeing 2 other women simultaneously. The irony isn't lost on me. She tried reaching out again after their breakup, a long email about perspective and growth and understanding what she lost. I read it, acknowledged it mentally, but maintained my silence. Some doors should remain closed. The financial aftermath was surprisingly manageable. The venue kept half the deposit but refunded the rest due to the circumstances. The honeymoon was partially refunded as credit for future travel, which I used for a solo trip to Japan, something Natalie had always vetoed as too foreign for her taste. Several friends initially sided with Natalie, believing I was overreacting to just venting. Most came around after hearing the actual recording. Those who didn't are no longer in my life, which feels like additional clutter cleared away. Emma remains my hero in all this. When Natalie confronted her about the recording, Emma simply said, "You shouldn't say things you wouldn't want repeated." Their mutual friends eventually chose sides, with most recognizing Natalie's behavior for what it was. The most unexpected outcome has been professional. The focus and discipline I channeled into dismantling my personal life translated into my work, leading to a significant promotion. Turns out, architectural precision is valuable in many contexts. For those asking if I regret not giving her a second chance, not for a moment. The wedding dress stunt revealed the performative nature of her remorse. Real regret doesn't need an audience or theatrical props. Some commenters suggested I was cold, calculating in my response. Perhaps. But emotional reactions would have given her exactly what she needed. Drama she could reframe, tears she could manipulate, anger she could point to as the real problem. Silent efficiency was the only language that couldn't be mistranslated. The cufflinks, they're finished, sitting in a drawer. I haven't worn them yet. Maybe someday they'll just be cufflinks, not symbols of a lesson learned the hard way. Until then, I'm building something new, with better materials and a much stronger foundation. Edit. Many asked about legal implications of the recording. In my state, one-party consent is sufficient for audio recording in public places. A salon qualifies as public, and Emma was party to the conversation by virtue of being within earshot. I consulted with an attorney before making any decisions based on the recording.